Faze Banks recently started his new thing on the internet. I don't know what the announcement was for. I think he was going to start a new group, but he ended up with a podcast. But let's see.
For the first time in months, Faze Banks has made an official response to the situation regarding the end of Faze by going live on Twitch and calling out anyone who disrespected him and the team in the past. Many of these people were surprisingly previous members of the team, and they would go on to announce their new group called Core on the very same day, throwing shade at Faze and essentially leaving it in the dust. And it's clear that Banks was pretty frustrated on the way that they decided to handle this situation, as they seemingly waited for the exact time for Banks to respond to this situation to make the announcement on their brand new team. Now this would all start after Banks would post a trailer announcing a stream where he was planning on
he was gonna bring back the Faze, but he didn't. I'm still confused. What was his announcement for?
Which would all happen on the very next day, averaging tens of thousands of viewers.
The truth about Faze, the tweet. The truth about Faze, and people ran with it. New Faze members, this, that. What's he gonna say? The Faze files. Like, yeah, I'm gonna just say it right here, right now. There's gonna be none of that. We're not sharing conversations. We have absolutely. There's no bad blood. This next 15, 20 minutes for me is really gonna be a turning of the page. I just wanted to talk to you guys from the chest, from my heart. I don't have any notes. This isn't scripted. I'm speaking from the chest, and I felt like that was very, very important for me to do, because I just want you guys to see me and hear me. And yeah, the truth about Faze, the truth is, I think that everybody lost. I think that I lost. I think that the boys lost.
Of course. You know why? None of the members made any money. And you also didn't make money. And the investors didn't make any money. You know who won? The guy who rented the house because he got the rent.
That Faze, of course, lost. And I think the biggest loser in all of this is you guys, to be honest. The audience, the viewer.
Now, I completely understand why he's saying this here. It's just some PR bullshit to try and, be empathetic with the viewers and whatnot. But him going on about saying that there's no bad blood between him and the members is honestly just pretty hard to believe. I mean, even if we go back to a few months ago when Banks made his initial response to this situation, he was talking all of this shit about the Faze members, saying about how they're all extremely ungrateful, how they all used to disrespect each other behind each other's backs, how they didn't want to live in the same house as each other or anything like that. But now he's essentially taking back his word.
I think he realized if that was true, they wouldn't be making a new group. Someone told him that there's going to be an announcement for the new group on that day. So he wanted to fix everything up on that day. Otherwise, he'll be called like idiot, because you said they don't like each other, but then what happens and they do, and then now they're making a new group by themselves. Why would they do that then?
Which obviously, us looking at it from an outside perspective makes it seem like there's only one or two possibilities for this situation. Either he's lying right now and there is bad blood, or he was lying in the past. Regardless,
he was lying in the past to get more views.
This entire situation just didn't look good for Banks at all. And in this response, he would decide to try and clear his name of everything.
We built something incredible that so many people enjoyed. And that's why, I'm clearly super emotional about this. So are they, so are you guys. And again, I appreciate that. I don't think any one party is better off without the other. I still to this day wish that we could have figured it out. Genuinely, I think that we were all much better off together. I think that we operated as a fucking all-star team. And it's just a shame that we couldn't get aligned. And that's honestly like where things went wrong. We just couldn't get aligned. There were two halves to this brand and this company. One was very much in front of the camera. That's the part that you know. And then we have a whole other side in the back. That's where over the last few months,
investors,
I have to just fully take accountability and just accept the fact that that's where I went wrong in this. That's where
Why do you have investors in this?
One thing about Faze and any other content group just like this is that turning it into an entire business where, you have people like these streamers who are creating all the content and everything like that. And then you also have people behind the scenes who are doing all the business stuff and trying to make a profit off of it. It just doesn't really work out at all. Because most of the time, the people behind the scenes don't know anything about the content they're producing. They're just simply trying to find as many ways to profit off of these streamers as they can.
And also, there's a very small amount of streamers that would agree to be a part of something like Faze, because why would you not just make your own group?
So therefore, whenever you're spending $100,000 a month on rent, you're funding all of these different content things that they want to do, which can cost literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And then the streamers go on to take 100% of all the revenue they make from that content. It's extremely hard to find a way to turn that into an actual profitable business. So I will will say, it's good that Banks decided to apologize for all of this stuff, but it is still a bit weird how Banks was shitting on all of these people months ago, and now he's finally deciding to try and save his PR by being the good guy.
My entire career, I've ignored contracts and deals. I've signed bad deals. I've been f***ed over. I haven't paid attention to this boring stuff because that's not me. That's not for me. But I assumed this role as CEO. I sold the boys a dream on fucking Faze being the biggest thing ever. And we succeeded. We succeeded on the vision. Everybody's much better off because of it. But then you guys gotta understand my POV and like my partner's POV, because I sold business people on this as well. We needed to fund it. This whole thing cost millions and millions of dollars. And I told them, I have this vision, I have this plan, and it will work. I think one of Faze's biggest problems, to tell you the truth, and I've thought obviously a lot about all this, I think that Faze experienced success way too quickly and way too rapidly. Like these kids overnight and Faze overnight were the biggest streamers on planet Earth. What did that create? What kind of environment did that create? They just wanted to create content. They just wanted to stream. I remember these conversations so vividly, and we had them so often where that's where the misalignment was. It was like, hey guys, can we sit down? Can we talk about business? I'm a guy who like, I wish that I focus more on like building content IP or dropping a product with fucking Rice Scum and Alyssa and Summer Rae.
Exactly.
I'd be way better off. Like we missed the mark on that because all we cared about was the day-to-day YouTube vlogs, and we were content brain and we were young. And I tried to extend.
Exactly. If you want to make money with Faze, I don't think they should have sold it. They should have just made new products. And yeah, you can have new members, but use you and the rest of the Faze boys still are the actual owners of it.
That experience to these guys and have these conversations about building business, but they're kids and they want to fucking stream. And that's not a problem. That's not an issue. That's what you guys want. That's what they want, but it's not necessarily what the company needed or what we wanted, right? So that's where shit starts to get messy. And then again, from our POV, and I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I'm happy. I consider this last era of Faze one of the best moments in spans of my entire life. And I will always appreciate these kids, and I will always appreciate you guys for that stretch of time in that moment. It was a very important moment in my life. I promised these partners a successful business as well. So you see on your timeline about how great Faze is, and you see all these clips go viral, and you see these guys making a ton of money and doing very well, and that's great. But then you look at, the Faze accounts, and they're bleeding, they're hemorrhaging, like we're dying.
Yeah, it's because like media business doesn't really work like that. Media business, when it comes to movies or like shows, they handle one show, the production company, and the people that are in the show, the main face of the show is an actor. He's paid per episode. Isn't really paid based on profits and losses. And then obviously, if the episodes do better than what they expected, they get some more incentives and bonuses. But the Faze boys were not salaried.
Well, we need to figure out the business. And a month goes by, and then 6 months goes by, and then a year goes by, and before you know it, you're fucking millions of dollars in the hole. But everyone's telling you how great it all is, but it's not sustainable and it can't work. And that's 100% my fault, period. That was my job to figure that out. And I cared more about Twitter and more about the content and more about the brand stuff. And we crushed that part, but it was all for nothing. And again, the irony is that it put Faze, when it was all said and done, in a much worse spot, which is crazy.
I feel like he says all of this, but he kind of didn't want to do anything behind the scenes. He wanted to be the guy who makes money without doing too much, which is basically a lot of people think with big business owners are, but they're not really that.
Remember whenever this entire Faze revival was going on, and Banks was constantly talking about how this is the greatest state Faze has ever been, that no one believed in it as much as him, and that all of these streamers are essentially gonna take the torch that was passed down to them and make Faze something even bigger than it once was. So knowing that, it is pretty interesting to see how much Faze has changed, and how this team that was quite literally on top of the world literally lost every single one of its members within a single day, and it was obviously all just due to the business side, the side that Banks himself pretty much ran exclusively. Yes, there were a ton of people also behind him in this situation, but they really weren't making any of the major calls. They were just throwing him money, with him telling him that this was somehow magically gonna make a profit.
So yeah, that goes without saying. Listen, I wish these guys nothing but the best, genuinely. All of them, every last one of them. I know got weird toward the end and emotional, and yeah, that's another huge thing that I just want to like speak on. Is it's hard for me to apologize for being passionate and emotional, because I feel like that's like part of the magic and that's part of the success. Like I don't think that any of this fate could have happened without that piece. You know what I mean? So it's like, I see tweets like "you ruined Faze," and I'll take that. Sure, we can call it that, and I can take that. But I feel like if that's true, then it must be true that I'm the reason why Faze has continued and why the reason why we all came together in the last 2 years as well. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's
that's
one of those
true.
things where I
That
just
is
wish
one thing.
people could be happy that it happened rather than being sad that it's over.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You know what the thing is? I think it's not even just about Faze. I don't think any group is gonna exist, no matter who you are, at that level that he wanted them to exist, unless you're the sideman. It's like think about groups in general. Any form of like media, music, any form of like TV or anything in terms of media. When have you seen groups? Last one that we saw was One Direction, which fell off. Before that, it was Oasis. The biggest ones that actually worked and stayed for a very long period of time was the Beatles. Sidemen on that of YouTube.
This is also obviously a good point to bring up. Yes, Banks is a big part of the reason why Faze ultimately failed once again. However, he was also the reason for its revival in the first place. As far as the public knows, he, along with the other owners, were the ones who recruited people like Lacey, Jason, Blackboy Max, Silky, and every new member in that entire streaming crew. So even though, yes, it is valid to shit on him for essentially ruining Faze once again, you also have to give him credit where credit's due. If it weren't for Banks, Faze would have never been revived in the first place. All of the subathons, all of the houses and everything like that literally attracted millions upon millions of people would have never happened if it weren't for Banks' influence. So while I personally don't agree with a lot of things Banks does, and I may not even like him as a person necessarily, I can also recognize that if it weren't for him, literally none of this would have actually happened.
I know I was really bummed out the way everything ended, and I fucking made some whack ass tweet about this shit's over, I'm done, poor me, boo hoo, and I really regret that. But another thing I regret is obviously the misalignment, the emotional shit, but I wish that I was just more myself with you guys. I played this role, I played this character, and I know you guys remember when we first started doing this, when the sentiment was positive, I would enter a fucking frame of a chat and watch the chat spam W Aura. And I didn't give a fuck then the same way I don't give a fuck now when they spam L Banks, because you know me the same. I don't know. I hope people consider and see that obviously when you guys are spamming W Aura and fucking Phases at its peak subathon, I could have fucking started a live stream. You know, I could have became a streamer then and probably, you know, ran with a successful streaming career. I didn't do that. You know what I mean? And I'm doing it now at a rock bottom. And I like that. As far as Faze is concerned, like,
yeah, the thing about I don't hate Bang, but I just feel like he's just trying to make quick money, which is never the right thing in life. You've made already a lot of money. Why not just do more of that? Just more content.
I have ideas. I have a vision. I have a plan. The sad and boring truth is I did step down as CEO when all that happened, months before Christmas and months before this ended. I'm confident in the future. I'm confident in myself. And I just want to be the first one to say it. And I would just want to go on record that I'm going to do it again and again and again, as many times as I need to. And I fully believe in it. And it's going to work and it's going to be successful. Even in the face of a million people telling me that it's not. And that
does he not understand that if you're not involved in the content yourself, you don't know what the content is, people that you have in your group, they're just going to spend a lot of money because they don't know where the money's coming from.
Over.
Now, Banks saying this really started to make a lot of people question, wow, is he actually going to try and revive Faze once again? And if we're being honest, I think we all already know the answer to that question. He most likely will in some way, shape, or form. However, the way he presented it in this live stream made it seem like it was a completely, well, different way of bringing a lot of young people up. Instead of being a live stream of him announcing a new Faze roster, as most people thought that this was going to be, Banks would instead announce a weekly show that he's now going to be doing on Twitch called Market Bubble. He debuted Market Bubble episode 1, co-hosted by Ansem, and shared trades like buying Solana at $1.50 and selling it near $260. Then showed Mixes Markets, AI, pop culture, and esports bets backed by Polymarket and others. Fans cheered the fresh pivot in Discord community, while skeptics called it a scam amid low chat engagement. I feel like with this show that Banks ultimately decided to launch, more people saw it as a way for him to use his influence to try and use it as a way to make more money off things like crypto and stocks, by telling his audience to invest in certain things, which will ultimately mainly benefit him over anyone else. And keep in mind,
this is illegal though. You can't just tell people to invest into anything. Isn't that illegal? I'm pretty sure that is.
All alleged and simply things that I just saw a lot of people talking about on Twitter. However, at the exact same time that Banks was announcing this show, the ex-Faze members would announce their brand new group called Core, before, posting a video on their
K-Sound's in it. But K-Sound's not in the picture, so I'm not sure if he's fully a part of it or not. We don't know.
YouTube channel of their brand new $20 million house tour. And this would obviously spark Banks into making an entire response to this situation, literally in the middle of the announcement stream for Market Bubble.
This is crazy. So the boys just launched a group, and they have 34,000 followers, and they launched it with this. They're rebranding themselves as the Core Boys, and they just moved into a new house.
Own,
this is
run
happening
everything. Okay.
live in real time. This is breaking news, everybody. And it stands for Create, Own, Run Everything, which is cute, and it's in line with like the fucking the Faze shit, whatever. It's ironic though, because this picture, and like, you guys got to keep it a bean. This picture is a recreated Faze picture. Maybe somebody responded with it. No. This is the picture that we had as like our YouTube Avi for a while. And I constructed this picture on set. Like, I told them all like crowd in and fucking make this picture. And we took a picture, whatever. And like, I directed this picture to be like how we brand on socials. Cause I didn't
But the Faze picture was just a logo. So I don't know what he's talking about.
think a Faze logo made sense. I wanted to brand it with these guys. It's just funny because this was my direction, my vision. And it's like, and honestly, listen,
So these
I'm
were your
super
guys,
happy.
like that's guys that.
Yeah. Besides Marlon.
Okay.
But he was kind of like affiliated. There's a couple missing too. Max isn't in here. And Rage. It doesn't seem like they're a part of this. But these guys look happy, man. To be honest with you,
do.
like Alex is the fucking best. It looks like he's been working his fucking balls off. He looks exhausted.
He looks stressed.
Jason looks super happy. Fucking Lacey looks trim. Silky looks like Silky. Marlon's handsome. And Ron's honestly a generational talent. And, you know, it was a fucking good run. And again, I'm seeing this in real time. And I wish them nothing but the best. Genuinely. What a good fucking day all around.
I feel like it's
But why would you hate it in the first place? A lot of people I've seen say that he's trying to get credit for it. He's not really trying to get credit for anything. He said that he's happy. I don't know why. I mean, that's a good thing.
pretty strange that all of this stuff is happening conveniently at the exact same time. Like, sure, it genuinely could all have just been a major coincidence, but I feel like it also could have almost been more likely that they all just coordinated their stuff conveniently at the exact same time by having Banks launch this brand new show at the exact same time that Faze is moving into their new house and also
Banks kinda
launching this new team.
timed it.
To me, that seems way more logical. However, it could all just be a coincidence.
It's
no
not.
one except for them really know what's going on here. And also, people might use the excuse of, oh, but all the ex-Faze members are not on good terms with Banks. But do we really know that for
I
sure?
don't think so. I doubt if Adapt is not on good terms with Banks. I don't think anyone is not on good terms with Banks because that'd be stupid. I mean, I'm happy. The core groups looks good. I think that's the only group other than Sidemen, Beta Squad, and Buff Boys are actually friends.